Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Shut Your Mouth Lounge, episode number 300! There you go, there's my voice already gone. So, Addy, hey.
Yes.
Are you here?
Sometimes.
How are you feeling?
I exist.
That's better than the alternative.
Yeah, not existing is usually pretty bad.
I knew a guy one day stopped.
Like boom, he was gone.
It was weird. It made like a little pop noise.
I was gonna make a biblical joke, but then I forgot if that was Job that just got teleported into somewhere.
Sarah got turned into a pillar of salt, right? Or no, not Sarah. What was it, Sarah? I can't remember.
I forget who.
I don't think Sarah was the name, but I know which one you're talking about.
I don't know who it is, but there's a guy in the Bible who's just like, God loved him so much he just one day fucking disappeared. We guessed he's with God.
I think it was Elijah that rode up on a chariot of fire.
Kind of an early rapturing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it genuinely was from what I remember and what I understood. It was genuinely just one day he's there, the other one he's not. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Guess he's with God.
Yeah. In a way, a very securing story for people who have missing relatives.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of missing relatives, here's Pink.
Yes, I'm here.
He's no longer missing.
For now.
Formerly on a milk box, no longer.
I wish I was on a milk box. Pink, how are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling alright. I could be better. I came in second place in a Mario Kart tournament that I was at recently, and by that I mean I was playing single player mode and came in second on this last course because I went to check my phone and forgot that I had paused Mario Kart, so that's how that goes. That happened a little bit before we started the podcast, for those wondering at home. So yeah, I ended the cup with a less than perfect score of 57 when 60 is the max. I'm just a little bit upset about that, but you win some, you lose some. I'll get them next time.
Is there much unlockables behind the single player in Mario Kart?
There's a lot of kart unlockables, like unique tires, unique, what do you call the actual car bodies, I guess, and unique gliders. But there's not, like, a lot of legitimate unlockables. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is in that awkward point where, it's a re-release of a game that released on the Wii U, which nobody played, and that version had unlockable characters. But when they ported it over, they just said, all right, here's all your characters. Have fun. Which on one hand, it's like nice, but on the other hand, it kind of takes away the feeling of progression. It takes away the grind, which is not as pleasant. Like, I have very fond memories of unlocking all the characters in Double Dash and Wii. In fact, I never actually unlocked everybody in Wii because there were so many stupid-ass ways you had to play that game in order to actually unlock everybody. So,
what?
Yeah. Legit. So there was, like, Baby Luigi. I think you had to play in a online race in order to play as Baby Luigi. I'm actually going to Google this up real quick. So, Mario Kart Wii. Unlock Baby Luigi. Okay, so similar to Funky Kong with Baby Luigi, you had to unlock 8 expert staff ghosts from the time trials, which nobody wants to do. I know I didn't want to do it. Good lord, they have a whole tutorial for beating the ghost here. What is this? Where was this 10 years ago when I was 13?
Wait, the other day you said you were 27, and now you just said you're 13 10 years ago. Which is it?
I don't know.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay, if you can't defeat the staff ghost, you can still unlock Baby Luigi by racing 3,150 times. Any race or battle counts toward this total, but time trials do not count.
Oh yeah,
What
I
the
remember
heck?
that. Back in Soul Calibur 3, it used to be that if you couldn't get the unlock conditions for most of the hidden fighters, it was like whatever, just play 500 fights.
Right?
Oh yeah, the Devolution. Either beat the arcade mode with everyone, or beat the devil within, or just do 5,000 fights. Fuck you.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Oh man, Tekken with unlockable fighters. Now that's a blast from the past. Tekken 5 would have been the last one that had unlockable fighters, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and it was just Devolution, and I think maybe someone. Oh no, there were more.
No, Tekken 5 had like 8 unlockable fighters on top of Devil Jin, because
Yeah.
Bruce and Back both came back in Tekken 5, and they were both unlockable.
Yeah, and I
And
think Roger and
Eddie was also
Honda.
unlockable. That
Yeah.
was the first game where Eddie and Christy were separate set characters.
No, it wasn't. Eddie was a separate costume for
No,
Christy.
Yeah, you're right. Eddie was an alternate costume. Though you still had to unlock it.
Yeah.
Was Tekken 5 not the one that had Heihachi unlockable because the starting cutscene is Heihachi Mishima is dead?
Maybe, but I don't think so. I don't remember.
Because I think that was Raven's introduction, was him saying Heihachi Mishima is dead.
Yeah, and then you go into the arcade mode, and he's immediately proven wrong.
Yeah, it's gonna be like one of your first matches. Fuck it.
Not even that, he's just on the character select screen.
Well, like there's somewhat of an element of that for fighting games in general. I was just last night talking with Mike about Mortal Kombat 10 because he's just finally gotten around to playing it, or Mortal Kombat X, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And that one is one I can remember. I ignored most of the hype cycle for Mortal Kombat X intentionally. I wanted to be surprised by the roster. I don't know why I did that. I've never done it since, but I did it at the time. So after Mortal Kombat 9's notorious Sindel wipes out all of the protagonists except for Raiden, Johnny, and Sonya ending, imagine my surprise when I start the game up and I see Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and Jax all staring me in the face nonetheless.
Yeah. It's fine, it's evil Jax.
It's not! Mortal Kombat 11 had the weird, stupid, evil Jax.
Oh,
but
shit.
Then he fixed his slavery?
Well, yeah, because that wasn't evil Jax, that was good evil Jax. That was the one that we brought back from the brink of being a revenant, I think.
Yeah, we
Or
only
something
got
like
Zombie Jax and MK10. And we got, like I was talking to Mike, how strange it is, Mortal Kombat 10, that for Liu Kang and Kung Lao and Sub-Zero, you get old versions of them, young versions of them, and zombie versions of them. And the old versions of Liu Kang and Kung Lao are not canon.
Yeah.
They never got to get old. It's really just like an Easter egg that you can play as old Liu Kang and old Kung Lao at all. But nonetheless, so, Pink.
Yeah.
Have you got anything coming out on your channel this week?
I actually don't. Probably not, because I haven't recorded anything in like a month. I've been
Understandable.
Yeah, I've been really busy and not had enough time to do that.
Atty.
Well, something's probably coming out on Friday. I'm not sure.
Oh shit! Get hyped!
On the second channel. The Street Fighter
Still,
6.
get hyped!
The Street Fighter 6 review is kind of in limbo. It's that there is a finished script. I need to get the footage. I need to do the voice work. I've also already gotten the footage for another review because I played a game in the meantime where I went in with like the game had so much promise, and the ending spoiled the game so much that I need to talk about it.
Understandably.
Like, it's one of those things where like the game is good all the way to the halfway point, and then suddenly they introduce one thing, and you go, okay,
Sailing?
No. But you look at the thing they introduced, and it's like, okay, this isn't exactly what I was looking forward to, but we'll see where this goes. Goes nowhere. Like it just tanks the quality of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like genuinely, the game has achieved something that not many others have done, which is to say that I had, like, even though I technically didn't pay for the game because it's on PS Plus, even though I didn't pay for the game, I felt like I was robbed. I don't want to know.
You're robbed of your time.
Yeah, like I don't want to know what people who actually paid the price of admission for this have felt. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like the worst part is the first half of the game is so well done. It's such a good example of what it was trying to be. That the second half being that bad it just makes it look even that worse.
Ooh.
But anyway, yeah. So that's the next two reviews that I'm working on. The Street Fighter one will be a bitch to get footage for though, because I'm referencing like Third Strike and Alpha and fucking what else? I feel like I reference another Street Fighter game, but yeah, like I'm gonna have to play through at least the arcade modes for like 4 separate fighting games. just for that one video. But yeah. That's it for my channel.
All right. Let's see. For my own channel, I do not currently have them uploaded, so ideally I won't forget. But in the coming week, I will be putting up more Conan Exiles. Shock of shocks, I know. Unbelievable. And other than that, what will be coming out is at least one recording that we have already done of WWE 2K23. And some recordings I have made of Total War Warhammer. It has been a minute. There has been some stuff that I wanted to get around to recording, and I finally did. I wanted to do some vanilla content before moving on. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. The indigestion's kicking in hard right now. It always decides to wait until recordings. Yeah, I wanted to get some vanilla content done before doing some modded content. And there are some exciting and cool mods I wanted to record, so I wanted to get the vanilla stuff out of the way.
All right, well, you're gonna have to look at the group channel.
Yes, okay, I was wondering about that. Sorry if I was a little distracted over here. I was fiddling with something. Let's see. So,
how dare you?
On Friday, September 29th, Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the Mega Drive? That is a hack, right?
I believe it's official? Question mark.
That would just be so weird if that's the only version of Trilogy on there. But then again, Trilogy is just a weird game anyways.
Like, I think Revelaton was based off of the Mega Drive port for Trilogy.
Oh, that great classic.
Yeah.
On the 30th, a Saturday, it will be Street Fighter 6 Part 11.
They're quickly running out of Street Fighter 6 videos, as you can tell by the fact that the video that will be coming out in like November is Rashid.
On October 2nd, Monday, Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc Part 4. On the 5th, the next Thursday, it is a short.
Unbelievable. We've sold out.
No, that we have. Now, the next podcast we do, will we be recording that on a Thursday or a Sunday?
Well, given that I'm not off on a Sunday,
probably be wiser to record it again on next Thursday then, huh?
Right. Unless you guys want to do it really late in the afternoon.
Heh.
Which,
Well, in that case,
as
I'm
much
going to
as
go ahead
I
and.
could do that, I don't think Addy could. Or at least I don't think Addy should want to.
So I'm going to go ahead and stop listing off videos then, as we will likely be doing the next podcast on the next Thursday. So if you want to find out what comes out on the next Monday and Saturday, then wait till then, fuckers. All right. So the topic for today's episode. Well, since today is episode 300, we all felt it would be fitting if we went for more of a fitting podcast topic to the title of the podcast, the Shut Your Mouth Lounge, which is a strange podcast title, I'm sure, for many. But the Shut Your Mouth Lounge title comes from where, on some level, we first assembled, which is the old WWE Games THQ forum. I believe we've explained this story several times, but for those who haven't, there used to be the WWE video games used to be under THQ instead of 2K. And when they were under THQ ran forums for them. And that's where we all first met, except Addy was not there on the THQ forums, correct?
Yes, I tried to join during the merger, but they didn't send me a confirmation email. I still haven't received it, by the way. And
That's how you
that
know
sounds like
THQ is
THQ.
really going out of business.
no, that's the thing. That's
Yeah.
the thing. The 2K was supposed to send me a confirmation email, and they still haven't gotten around to it. But
Oh,
yeah, but yeah, and then when y'all
As
sort of-
always, good things only happen with the WWE 2K games when 2K gets out of Visual Concepts' way.
yeah, and yeah, and I joined then like 2 months later from when I initially tried to join the forums. Y'all split off into your own forums because of probably Ziokage. I don't remember.
Ziokage was not so much the problem at that point.
Zeo Cage was always a little piece of crap. Don't let anyone fool you.
He was a fairly cool guy in the 2K Sports days before he had any power.
Nah.
But yeah, the issue, the reason that all went down, Steve/Brandon, whichever you want to call him, and Soon, who are both much more mature people now, were both 13 years old at the time, and thought it would be fun to deliberately go ahead of the rest of us and make menaces of themselves and say that we were invading or some weird shit like that. And I guess the moderators on the 2K forum told a few people outright that they thought we were going to be problems coming in. And so they were somewhat on hair triggers. And as a result, there were some fairly innocuous comments made by several people that got several people banned. Mike got banned. Divas Rocks, I think, got banned, which is astounding because she never said anything offensive.
Yeah, but that's the weird thing though, is that like all of that happened after I joined.
Really?
Yes,
My memory of the timeline doesn't line up then.
because I vividly remember Mike complaining on our shared forums that he got banned by Ziokage for the I think it was a comment about Eva Marie.
Yep.
Yes, it was. He said that Eva Marie's skin looked like a tanned leather saddlebag. Which
Yeah.
it does. But it was determined that that was sexist, even though we frequently make similar comments about Hulk Hogan. So,
But yeah, like I
Well,
remember.
to be
remember
fair,
that-
we
yeah,
don't call Hulk Hogan a leather saddlebag. We call Hulk Hogan a hot dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. That's
With
the
a
thing though.
haircut.
Like Hulk Hogan's skin is not worthy of being called veg tanned or even chrome tanned.
Ugh. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much.
But yeah, like I remember those, but those were after the split. Like I actually didn't remember what the cause of the split was. I just remember Bane, which that's a name. Bane posting just like, hey, I made a forum for us, and then I was like, fuck it, try joining because the official forums want to send me a confirmation email.
Yeah, we don't need to go further into the history because it's now kind of unrelated. But anyways, on the original THQ forums back in the day, Mike the Rat Guy, good buddy of ours, he's in a good couple videos on this channel. He is a big fan of a wrestling game from back in the day called WWE Shut Your Mouth. And specifically, he is a big fan of the season mode in that game, which was a single-player gameplay mode where you would play as your character and go week by week. You'd be able to roam the backstage environment of the wrestling show in first person and make decisions interacting with the other wrestlers, the promoter of the company, yada yada. Then you'd go out and have your match. And depending on who you chose to interact with, what you chose to say, and how you behaved in the match, you would get different story results each week, and it would be a dynamically forming story around you, barring one like scripted storyline that would happen like every WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
And as a result, well, that thread initially was the place where people would say, like, I'd love to have that story mode back. It very quickly, that thread turned into being completely irrelevant to the title and just being the thread where everybody went to say whatever random bullshit they felt like.
Right.
Which then made this podcast's title also fairly prophetic, because we pretty well from the jump had nothing to do with the Shut Your Mouth games. It was entirely just the threads thing of this being the one where people say random bullshit.
Yeah, funny how that worked out.
But nonetheless, to tie into the podcast title's origins being related to wrestling video games, and all three of us being, at the very least, somewhat fans of wrestling, perhaps a bit more lapsed in Eddie's case, but all three of us still being fans of the wrestling video games, I thought today's interesting topic would be, what is one mechanic or big, strong gameplay design change from a non-WWE, that is currently not in the WWE 2K games, that you would love to see WWE bring in or experiment with or play with or really investigate. And it has to be a big change, not a small change. Because, like, for instance, Fire Pro, I love Fire Pro. Fire Pro is mostly made by small changes, like having a sell button to stay on the ground after taking a move, or being able to run the ropes properly instead of the weird, janky way you can try to imitate it in the WWE games. Those are too small of changes. I'm talking big stuff. And somehow I feel Pink's going to be the most opinionated on this, as he's the one who plays the most of these games out of us. So, Addy, I vote you take the start of the race if you have any ideas. If you don't have any ideas, I can cover it for you and take the initial part.
All right. Well, I don't. So, go ahead.
So, Pink, you would know this better than me. Either Day of Reckoning or the old WrestleMania games had a mechanic. Ted's mentioned it to me a few times, but he did not explain it in depth. Where when you put somebody in a submission, there were different things you could do in that submission. You could torque the submission in to do more damage, or you could stop and taunt. And I feel like submissions and holds are a major thing that have been bad in the WWE games for forever.
Yes.
Submissions have just kind of been press button more good.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of working holds, we had working holds from 15 to 19, and they weren't very good.
Right.
And I think that is somewhat how it should be done. I almost feel like whoever's been put in the hold should have, like, the idea I have in my head, and God knows how this would work on an actual controller, is that whoever is on the receiving end of the submission should be able to choose towards either putting their work towards breaking free from the submission or working towards the ropes, right?
Yeah.
While whoever's put the submission in can focus on do more damage and try to get the actual tap out, stop and taunt, focus on tightening the submission, something like that.
Yeah.
And to me, that makes sense, because there have been plenty of examples, like The Rock is a big one I can think of, where the sharpshooter, when it was done by Bret Hart, was done for the sake of actually torquing the submission and getting a tap out, which made sense. It was Bret's finish. But when The Rock did the sharpshooter, The Rock sharpshooter notoriously kind of sucked.
Oh, yeah.
But it never seemed like The Rock was actually trying to hurt anybody with a sharpshooter. Like, even in kayfabe, in the logic of, in terms of the wrestling psychology of the match itself, The Rock was locking in the sharpshooter so he could pose and the opponent could do nothing to stop him. So to me, that's an excellent example of a taunting submission, right?
Yeah.
Comparative, I don't know, let's say, the figure 4. Do you focus on turning it over, or do you focus on crawling over the ropes? Do you focus on getting up and slapping Rick while he's got you locked in it? Is Rick really putting it on, or is Rick taking his time to just woo it up?
Right.
It, of course, raised some animation questions. How do you make a taunting sleeper hold, for instance?
True. That would be a bit of an obstacle to overcome.
Yeah. For some animations in particular, I think it'd be real fun. The full Nelson, right?
Yeah.
The full Nelson is one where there's really two ways of doing it. There's the more legitimate way where you're actually like holding it in tightly and like almost choking the opponent out by closing their blood vessels. And then there's the wrestling way of doing it that Chris Masters and Bobby Lashley always did, where they're just wailing and swinging back and forth to either side, which is complete phony kayfabe bullshit, but is nonetheless entertaining every time. And that'd be a way you could do that, right? Because when you're quote-unquote tightening it in or locking it in to try and fight the opponent's progress, then your character would probably be doing it more legitimately and trying to tighten it in. Whereas then when you're like going for the submission, though, then you do the Chris Masters, Bobby Lashley overselling nonsense. I don't know. I think like the big system change I could see happening for WWE 2K, because I think really it's in a good place right now. And everything else I could think of would be small changes, personally, me thinking. Though, again, you guys could also just throw in like entire like gameplay modes instead. But in terms of like actual system changes, the only one that sticks out to me is submissions still suck.
Yeah, I was actually thinking the very same thing last night when we were playing. Like,
yeah, I wonder why!
Yeah. So much of it, we've been doing this for over 2 decades, maybe 3 now, where you put on the submission, and what is the minigame? Smash the button. Or nowadays, since they're going easier on our $70 plus controllers, let's hold the button.
Well, now that's not just a controller thing, that's also a arthritis thing.
True, but still, I just wanted to mention the fact that controllers are so costly nowadays. It couldn't go unsaid. But anyway, as we were playing last night, it's like, yeah, even though we're only holding the button, you still have to look at the stupid little bar to see what your progress is at, what button you need to be holding at the moment. And it takes away from the animations of the actual submissions. When you're not paying attention to what's going on in the ring, you're paying attention to the stupid little bar that you gotta work at. So I desperately want a new submission system. I don't know how they would improve it, how they would change it. I love all the ideas you throw out there, and I have no idea how they would accomplish it. I just really, really, really want something that feels seamless and enables me to enjoy the actual submission as if I'm watching a wrestling match, rather than putting on a submission and then watching a stupid little button mashing mini game.
Yeah, it's one of the issues with the system right now is that you have to look at the button thing rather than looking at the animations.
That's never really been. That's never really been fixed though. At least in the WWE games, because like you had the struggle submissions. Those, I mean, technically there was an indicator on screen, but it was worthless. There was the new and improved struggle submission mechanic, which was just the blobs from working holds, which sucked. And then we have this.
Yeah.
We win in a circle.
If I were to like think on how it could be done, I'd almost say like it would just be as simple as you have, for instance, one button when you're defending, You have one button that focuses on push out of the submission and one button that focuses on get to the ropes. If you wanted to introduce a third thing there just to make the gameplay a little bit more complex and add a little bit more rock, paper, scissors to it for the defender, then you could have, for instance, get to the ropes, break out of the submission, or flip into your own submission or something like that, right? Reverse into your own submission, maybe.
Yeah.
That would, of course, like what the system I'm even suggesting would all require like almost a complete torching of all the submission animations we already have, which I would despise. Because, you know, it took us a long time to get here. We spent like a decade of William Regal not getting the Regal stretch because there were 7 submission animations.
Yeah.
But on some level, this is a little bit pie in the sky, I suppose. But nonetheless, like that would be like an idea. Yeah, that would be like an idea of like, okay, you've been put in the figure 4. Maybe you can focus either on if you focus on breakout, then it focuses towards your opponent slapping Rick to get him to let go. Whereas reverse is the flip over, and now you've got him in the weird flipped over figure 4, right?
Right.
Which, of course, no one ever actually got Rick to tap out with, but nonetheless, let's ignore that. Some of it would honestly just have to be that you break free anyways, and then like whatever, pull them down into a submission, almost like just reversing something with a small package, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like even if like none of those answers are realistic, I think that a big takeaway there, I think for a lot of people, is just going to still be, boy, that submission mechanic is poop.
Oh yeah.
Because, Addy, when we played 2K23 last night, I put Pink in the mandible claw like 3 or 4 times, and at least half of those times took over 30 seconds.
Ah.
Now, let's see. Addy, do you have any ideas, like whether it's gameplay mechanics or whole new gameplay modes?
Well, going across similar lines, I could make the joke of just fucking torch the input method and then go with Giantgram. Everything is motion inputs, fuck you.
No. Oh, well, see, then you're just being spiteful. That's not even really an answer. That's just to fuck with Pink.
No, I mean, I think of that as a joke answer, because, like, genuinely, why would they do that? Like, who would benefit? But at the same time, it would also be funny to me to imagine just, like, you know, I want to walk up the stairs, alright, press forward, down, and, like, A. And it puts
inherently, they have to inherently get rid of moveset customization.
Yeah.
If I were to think of something from Giantgram that I thought was really cool that would raise a lot of gameplay problems, it would be the ability to reverse reversals. But that raises gameplay issues. Like I'll say, it was really cool. It was really cool the first time we saw it in Giantgram that you could go for a power bomb. Okay, the other guy reverses it and he starts to go for the back body drop. Oh, but you reverse the reversal, so, you know, Mizawa just starts hitting forearms to the opponent's back until they stop resisting, and then he power bombs them anyways, right?
Yeah, I mean, that could be fixed fairly easily, in my opinion, just because, like, you know, it could lead to a thing where you're, like with All-Stars, where you just counter each other forever, but you could also just introduce a soft limit. So it's like so counters are free except when you're countering counters where you get to do like 5 reps and then it whoever gets it.
I believe with All Stars, for every reversal you got, the reversal window got shorter. So that you could not have the endless arm drag, though I love the endless arm drag. It's my favorite ever.
But yeah, like I
have you ever seen?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the endless arm drag reversals, Pink?
I have not.
In All Stars, you can arm drag people, and if they reverse it, then their character will just simply roll through the arm drag and arm drag you. However, you can reverse that arm drag to do the same, where you roll through their arm drag and arm drag them. And if you both have perfect input timing, it is hypothetically possible to have a pretty well infinite arm drag where the two of you just keep rolling forever.
I like it.
It's stupid, but it's awesome.
But yeah, like, that's a way to fix it. Although it still does raise a thing of like, if people get high enough execution, then they just don't get hit at all. Which I think it would be it would make more sense. Yeah.
I think they kind of finally recognized that with 2K22, which is why they added stuff why they added the Killer Instinct method of reversals rather than the old just press Y forehead reversals.
Yeah, although I don't like the Killer Instinct method of reversals either. But like that's why I think for countering counters specifically, it would work to just limit it so it's like, so specifically when you're countering counters, you get to counter a counter 5 times. If in that like whatchamacallit, that like instance counter, like the counter doesn't go through from either side, then fuck it, whoever's on less just gets there for free. Which five might even still be too big a number, but like you get what I'm saying.
But if you had like a big new mechanic or gameplay mode that you would say you'd want.
I mean, that's the thing, like the gameplay modes, like, oh well, I don't really have an idea for gameplay modes because like my thing is just like make universe mode not shit. More or less.
Is it shit?
I didn't see the reason to actually engage with it, but
I mean, it's a game that it's a mode that you play for itself. If you're asking for unlockables, that's a different question.
Not really unlockables. There's just nothing like the in the earlier games. I liked making it like I liked the randomly emerging storylines, and it felt like in the limited time I had with 2K22, which 2K22 isn't 2K23, but the limited time I had with 2K22, that didn't really seem to be a lot like going on a whole lot. It was just like, okay, we have this one storyline, we're gonna keep rehashing it sometimes. But other times it's just like, okay, so there's a rivalry, nothing happens in it, and then eventually we'll have a blow-off match.
I mean, on some level, I think that a lot of universe has to be in your head a little bit. Like, it's just impossible for them to actually program in such dynamic storytelling,
That's true,
Yeah.
but then even like with the cutscenes, there used to be the cutscenes, and there were maybe 4 that I saw playing through, like, I want to say 4 or 5 years of universe.
Just
stop complaining and consume. I get it. Yeah, my bad.
All right, fuck me then. Whatever. Anyways, do you have a new like mechanic or gameplay design idea that you want, rather than just saying the current system sucks?
I don't fucking know. Like the thing I'm missing the most is the whatchamacallit, the physics on weapons.
The old SVR 2011 physics?
Yes.
Those are great.
Like that and the interactivity of them, because it made weapon matches actually feel different instead of just like, oh, there's a chair now. I guess.
Yeah, and it's the same as other strikes.
That and all, I also like,
especially
yeah,
for strikes and for weapons in 2K23. It really feels like they're worse than regular strikes because they're still reversed the old way. Just press Y.
Yeah.
And so it feels inevitable that you're going to get reversed.
Yeah, and then there's also the thing of like, you can taunt with weapons now, which is cool. But at the same time, there's so many things that I remember from the older games that are kind of just missing, like being able to grab with certain weapons. So like, instead of doing a normal stack with a chair, you would grab with it, and it would be got check with the chair, and then it would transition into a DDT onto the chair.
That was cool.
Or like being able to...
That one was a weird one because they only ever introduced 2 animations for it. So you could either do a DDT onto the chair, or you could do a Van Daminator, and that was it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish they expanded on that, and also the stuff with the ladders where you could just prone the ladder wherever and then run off of it. It was dumb, but it was, you know, it added another layer of thing that you can do with the weapons.
I mean, Shelton Benjamin did it a few times in real life, so.
But yeah, I think they removed that specifically. Well, I don't remember when they removed that, but the last time I remember seeing it is when I saw someone use it to go out of bounds. So that might have been the reason it got removed.
I doubt it. That is one game series that knows that they have wacky bugs and just kind of lives with it. You can't make a wrestling game without wacky bugs, I think. Well, you can't make any game without wacky bugs, but wrestling games are one that in particular lead to some very funny bugs, and they have to know that.
Yeah, like the thing that kind of fucks up my assumption is that I don't remember if this was like the game a year before they made it so you could only put it down in certain spots or not, because if it was, then it makes sense that they would rework it because they were trying to rework it. But if it wasn't, then what happened?
I'm not entirely certain. Pink, what do you think?
Well, I don't think that making it to where the ladders have pre-existing locations that you're allowed to place them, it came as a result of going out of bounds in the wrestling ring, because that's
that specifically. That
no,
specifically is just because it was such a pain in the ass to get it under a Money in the Bank briefcase.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying that maybe they removed the being able to prone the ladder anywhere on the ropes and run off of them.
Lean.
The lean. There we go. Yeah, lean the ladder on the ropes wherever and just run off of them. Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe they removed that because they were switching over to putting the ladder in the predetermined spots.
I couldn't tell you the reasoning behind that, because that mechanic was implemented in SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, and then it got taken out the following year, and it didn't get re-added until like 2K18, 19, somewhere around there. And I think it still technically exists in this current game. I don't know. I'd have to double check.
I don't
but
think
I
so,
think
because when I remember trying to run off of, because you can make a ladder fall in a way, wait for it so it's leaned on the ropes, but you can't run up it, or at least I couldn't be. I wasn't able to.
I'm pretty sure you can do it in this game.
But yeah, also speaking of Money in the Bank, fucking fix it. Do something. I don't know what, but fucking hell.
Like, what's your issue with Money in the Bank?
The briefcase minigame.
I can see that.
Like, I think I forget, it might have been 19 or 22. I forget which one, but you know, it used to have a lot more time, like times when you had to get the circle into the inner circle or whatever. Yeah, you get it, the dot into the inner circle.
Yeah.
But then it had it two
I don't
cages.
think Money in the Bank. I don't think the Money in the Bank minigame has ever not sucked.
Yeah. I mean, there was I forget which game it was, but there was those games for like I want to say like 5 or so years when the Money in the Bank minigame was climb up the ladder and then press button. All right, cool, you won. Which like
your character's got to jerk the rope for a little bit.
Yeah. But like ever since there's been a proper on-screen indicator of what's going on, there hasn't been a good mechanic for it. No. and then even in the game I'm talking about, or games I forget, even that when it was legitimately just walk up the ladder, just not even climb it, just at 90 degrees walk up the ladder, and then just press a button. All right, you win. Which isn't the greatest, but it's still better than what we have now. Because at least it's fast. But yeah, I remember that in one of the earlier games that it was recent, they had a lot more like pips that you had to fill, and then they reduced the amount of pips in in 2K23 maybe. And it just went from alright, so this match type takes 30 hours because everyone does like a pip, and no one is ever allowed to be on the ladder, to okay, so the same thing, but now randomly someone will get the briefcase too.
Yeah.
Which is more or less what happens in the actual matches. So some guys just can't get it off the rope, and some guys get it off it instantly. Good old wrestling.
But yeah,
And I just checked, you can in fact lean the ladders and run off them in 2K23.
You can?
You can.
Alright. I guess it's very finicky.
Might be.
Because every time I've tried, my character would just run into the ladder and push the ladder out of the ring.
Ah.
All right, now Pink.
Now me. So I've got a slightly small but slightly large one. I'm not sure where it really falls in, but this is something I've wanted for ages because I'm a big fan of Day of Reckoning. I'm a big fan of Day of Reckoning. It's one of my all-time favorites of all time. And in Day of Reckoning, they have this unique system where you can choose let's call it a fighting class that will determine what your reversals are when you hit a reversal.
Yeah.
I need customized reversals.
Yes.
Because I am sick and tired of every wrestler on the roster getting suplexed and then they're reversing the suplex once they're at the peak, when they're up in the air. Then they'll slide down, then they'll grab behind around the waist, and then they'll hit a German suplex. Everybody on the roster hits a German suplex after the suplex counter, and it irritates me to no end.
I don't know what your problem is with Kevin Nash doing a Hurricane Rana.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know what my problem with that is either, but still, I need the variety. I need some people to just drop down and go for a chop block to the legs, or a low blow, or a back rake, or something, anything. Just not a German suplex, please.
Transition the suplex into a backstabber.
Right?
Like, just in the air.
Absolutely.
They've done a very good job with the 2K games of adding loads more reversal animations, so we don't have the same reversal animation of every move like back in the 2011, 2012 days. But the vertical suplex reversal animations, there are only like 3. And they are used for all vertical suplexes, whether it's a vertical suplex or a brainbuster or a fucking snap suplex. And I can never get used to someone who never does regular vertical suplexes. Someone who just does snap suplexes. Every time they're getting reversed, they go for a vertical suplex, inexplicably.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, what about the snapmare reversals that make it look like the person's going for an RKO?
I just love that one. Those ones are just great. It's watching Undertaker go for an RKO, right? Or Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Pulled a little bit of an Ultimate Warrior there. Hulk Hogan! Oh, boy. What was I going to say? Right. Yeah, that customizable reversals would be so great. Because, okay. I'm going to, again, highlight something we did just last night playing 2K23. That spot where one of you guys went for a back suplex on Mick Foley, and Mick Foley reversed it by doing a backflip.
Yeah.
That's just realistic.
Yeah.
That was pretty questionable. I will say it is a little Fire Pro thing. Fire Pro has specifically a reversal type, and there's 8 different reversal types that you can set for each wrestler, and that is a little thing, but it is progress. So you can set the heel reversal type, and that's when you guys will see the ones where they reverse everything with low blows or eye rakes.
Yes, that's basically what Dave Reckoning did, and they had a small roster, so they could customize the unique reversals of every individual wrestler a lot more to their liking. like to what you see on television. And then they also had a handful of generic classes like, oh, you've got the Bruiser reversal type, and you've got the Giant reversal type, and you've got a Luchador reversal type. So I need something like that re-implemented into 2K23.
I've got a really weird one that I want, and I don't know how the hell they would implement it. It would have to be like some kind of thing you store up before a move. But I've always thought if I had like God's game development toolkit, where there are no limits, there's not even time. It's the hyperbolic time chamber. I step inside and I can make a game, and no matter how long it takes, I would make a wrestling game with reversal finishers. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because one of the coolest things Randy Orton ever did was reversing other people's finishes into the RKO. You're never going to get that in the WWE games.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they would ever do it, and it would require so much animating work for something that would never be seen. But wouldn't it be cool, though?
Absolutely.
If you could reverse the choke slam into the RKO, or the attitude adjustment into the RKO.
Absolutely.
That's very pie in the sky, though, just for the sheer amount of animation work, you know? And again, for animations that nobody would see.
Yeah.
But being able to actually choose your reversal animations, yeah, that's absolutely a thing. Especially, like, it's awkward when your character does a reversal into their finish, but it was a reversal, so it didn't count.
Uh-huh.
Like, if X-Pac reverses a power bomb, there's a good chance he'll reverse it into the X Factor. But it won't count as the X Factor because it was a reversal.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That wasn't an X Factor. It was a Bella Buster.
Yeah, there you go. He pressed the wrong button.
Yeah.
Well, since none of us came up with gameplay modes, what if we all had to each come up with a gameplay mode?
All right, immediate
what do
joke
you
answer out
mean
of
by
the way.
gameplay mode?
Universe, season mode, GM mode, showcase,
Okay.
Road WrestleMania.
If I had an unlimited budget and God was developing this game himself, I would just transfer over the career mode from Wrestling Empire into 2K20, etc.
with limb destruction?
With limb destruction and all that other crazy,
And-
hectic nonsense that occurs in those
Yeah,
games.
fucking
It'd be great. The kids will love it.
You still have the thing from the newest game where you actually have to go through the city and your character just wakes up and there's just like fucking Arn Anderson shitting in the room.
Hey kids, want to shoot up drugs? You'll get great stat boosters in your next match, but you'll blow up a lot quicker.
Do steroids! It wasn't a question, it was an answer!
Yeah. They also had Ndiki for some reason, even though he's not a WWE wrestler or a wrestler at all.
Our spiritual liege, Matt Dickey.
I have a joke answer immediately, which is when before 2K bought the rights from the dying THQ, there was the air of like, oh, who's gonna buy the development rights to WWE, and someone, I forget who, probably CM Pulse. Now that I think about it, but someone was like, all right, imagine if Rockstar made a WWE game and then they modded GTA 5, I think, to do a mock-up where Triple H goes over to the ringside, picks up a sledgehammer, and then an aiming reticle comes up, and
yeah,
and I like the idea of mode where it's GTA. And even the match doesn't transition into the normal gameplay mode. No, you have to fight people like it was GTA. The only difference is sometimes you can pick up a gun.
Well, that's also Wrestling Empire, really.
Yeah. I mean, the big difference, I guess, between those two is that Wrestling Empire, if memory serves, doesn't allow you to shoot the gun.
It does.
In the games I remember, it didn't.
It also allows you to bring a katana to the match and cut off the opponent's arms.
But yeah, but that's just wrestling.
That's true. I remember when Sandman did that to New Jack, but New Jack just put his arm back because he was empowered by cocaine.
He drenched the stomping herbal fluid.
That herb, cocaine.
Yeah.
Boy, that'd explain some things in Resident Evil.
But yeah. Let's see if I can find a real answer though, because like as funny as it is to imagine walking down the ramp with Triple H with a fucking like SMG.
I love the answer of what if Rockstar took over video games. Yes, because clearly both parties would be interested in that affair.
Yeah.
That is such a fucking, like, wrestling hasn't been good since the Attitude Era answer.
I mean, the thing with that though is that like it makes me imagine like, okay, so what would other companies' wrestling games be like? What's an Orcsys wrestling game?
That is the answer. That is the answer of a wrestling fan who believes that wrestling peaked with Tori Wilson and Sable. If Arxis did a wrestling game, see, that'd be different. Because Arxis, I don't think, would want to do an American wrestling game, but I could see them doing a Japanese fighting game of, I don't know, here's Misawa and Tenryu and Inoki, I guess.
Oh boy. I can't wait to buy WWE fucking 2025 made by CyberConnect V2.
Okay, I'm actually going to say this unironically. I would love for them to bring back the stupid mode. Was it not Day of Reckoning, where it was the stupid mode where you go into a shopping mall and you beat up the security guards?
WrestleMania 19.
Okay. They need to... Okay.
I thought you'd go for
While
Rush
Addy
Hour.
comes up with his other answer, I want a wrestling game arcade mode with like fucking Mortal Kombat towers you have to go through, but it is complete japes, and like the bonus stages between every three matches are go into the shopping mall and beat up the fucking security guards.
Okay, I have an answer. The idea of this is so dumb, but it could technically work.
Shoot.
Alright, it's season mode, but to make it different, this time it has a social sim aspect. You have to build fucking You have to build fucking relationships. You have to manage your time when you go to the gym, and that determines which storylines you get put on.
I'd play that game.
So have you ever seen the Super Best Friends play SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, Addy?
Probably, but I don't remember it.
They all get drunk and start talking about the game as if it's Persona but wrestling.
See, that was my idea too, so yeah.
And a drunk Wooly starts doing Jim Ross and going, "The Arcana is the means by which all is revealed, Kang." The persona is the true face, Kang. In order to grow, you must face the shadows in your heart, Kang.
Yeah, like fucking like imagine you go with your CAW, because like I guess this is a self-insert story. I don't know if it would work better with real wrestlers or not, but whatever.
If we get full voice acting, then there's too much potential for memery.
But like imagine you go with your CAW, you load in. All right, you meet your first wrestler that you have to make a relationship. It's Randy Orton. He's the flipped chariot. He's showing you all of the things not to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that was how. Oh god, yeah. Super Best Friends started getting into who's the various arcana. Yeah. Oh yeah. Randy is definitely Chariot. Taker is Judgment. That's not even in question.
Yeah.
Who's the fool?
You would be the fool.
Sammy's. You could be the fool. That's true. Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to be the fool because the fool represents infinite potential.
Yeah, the CAW is definitely the fool. Yeah. Vince is the tower, or
Vince is death.
Vince is the tower. No, death represents rebirth.
Well,
that'd be funny, but no.
That represents change, which Vince could induce in you. So
I don't know. It's funnier for Vince to be the tower, especially considering current circumstances.
See, I don't remember what the tower stands for. So
downfall.
Ah, yeah.
Pride cometh before a fall. It's specifically a reference to the Tower of Babel. So
yeah.
Who is Temptation? Who is the devil, other than Kevin Sullivan?
The devil is some heel, some random heel. He's the role in the story is offering you steroids.
I mean, the devil is Dr. Zahorian.
Sure.
We have had a wrestling character who came very close to being the devil. That was more or less Sean O'Hare's gimmick, was the devil offering temptation.
Yeah.
Just didn't get to continue. Who is the icon of rebirth for wrestling? Who would be Death? That almost kind of would be Dominic.
I don't know. I feel like that's recency bias. I feel like his career would need to be either over or somewhere close to over to be able to really say, oh yeah, he showed rebirth.
Yeah. Beyond that, those kinds of comeback stories are pretty rare in wrestling. Someone who spent a lot of their career being the shits, and then suddenly, oh my god, they're great. Well, not necessarily the shits, but just completely disregarded for the first decade of his career. DDP.
Yeah, sure. DDP is one of the trainers in the gym. He teaches you DDP yoga.
Triple H is the emperor.
Yes.
Stephanie is the empress.
Totally, yes. He has no idea what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah, he has half an idea of what we're talking about because he knows wrestling, but it's the persona that's screwing him up.
I mean, that's the thing though. Like the persona stuff isn't really even like persona specific. This is pseudoscience. This is Jungian philosophy.
No, it isn't. The Arcana, the tarot has nothing to do with Freud. It's Western mysticism that the persona devs just happen to find interesting.
Wasn't it Jung that they did the Arcana stuff?
The Arcana goes back a long time. No, tarot goes back a long time.
No, I'm aware of the tarot being a thing, but like I remember reading that Jung like applied the Arcana to people's lives as like a way to show something, the way that life progresses or something like that.
I could see that. Yeah, I guess I'm not an expert on Jung, so I shouldn't say.
Because yeah, like my understanding was that it's a part of Jungian philosophy or something like that. I don't know, which is disregarded as quackery now. But it is a part of Jungian philosophy that the certain arcana reveal the way someone's life is going. So that's why tarot readings, maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's how it gets into a persona, because it's all about like the occult stuff, and the tarot is tied to the occult. Jungian philosophy, fuck it, whatever. These cards mean that.
Yeah.
That's basically my understanding of that. So like technically, Pink might understand some of this if he knows Jungian philosophy. I just that he's researched the whole thing.
I keep thinking you're about to say Yu-Gi-Oh! So no,
I'm
not doing
Yu-Gi-Oh! Philosophy!
Yes. When do you summon Pot of Greed? What does it mean when you do? But yeah, so
Pink screams, for he does not know.
Which, by the way, we talk about how, or I know that how Jungian philosophy is like quackery and shit. I did. I had a well, I had a philosophy class recently, which I wasn't there for, so I'm gonna have to look into that. But well,
To my knowledge, Jung is actually considered less of a joke than Freud.
not only that, but when my mom was on her thing to become a teacher, well, more or less a teacher. Her official title is assistant teacher, which means that she can't hold proper classes. Like she can hold substitute classes and stuff like that. But yeah, whatever. In that, I helped her learn philosophy because I am somewhat aware of stuff in philosophy, and yeah, the Jungian philosophy is still a thing. They didn't like delve too deep into it, but it was like, here's this and that based on Carl Jung. So yeah.
Yeah.
So even though allegedly it's not really used anymore, it is still used, just not all of it, I guess.
Yeah, Freud wound up having the bigger pop cultural influence, but broadly speaking, he's a joke.
Yeah, I mean, Freud well known for ill dick.
Yeah. More or less that, and saying you want to fuck your mother, and if you have oral fixation, it's because you were not raised properly as a child and also are obsessed with oral sex.
I also like to imagine that like the statement from Freud of you wanna fuck your mother isn't aimed at anyone. It's just to one guy specifically. We just misinterpreted him.
On some level, it was. That person was himself.
Ah.
Freud had serious mommy issues.
But
like,
yeah.
seriously, when you look into it, that dude, hoo boy.
But yeah, like just the idea of a wrestling season mode is also Persona.
I mean, there's definitely Persona elements that people would want in a season mode.
Yeah, but also like
I think building a social link with your tag partner or your stablemates would definitely be a big part of the appeal of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love that because like I like Persona partially because of the social aspect. It balances out the turn-based RPG elements and the dungeon crawling a lot very well. It also builds the story a lot, which that's the part that we get where we get into a bit of a problem with wrestling games, because wrestling games generally don't really have like a story with a beginning and an end. It's kind of just middle. So
that's wrestling in real life. There is no beginning or end to wrestling.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so that's how you get to the
it's
problem.
It's like comic books, really.
That's how you get to the problem of like, okay, so we only have a middle to work with. How do we write these people? So that the people are engaged and then want to spend time with them and shit. But it would also be fun to just be like, okay, fuck it. Like I don't know if they tie to the Arcana, although it would be funny if for whatever reason there's no explanation. They all of the characters just all of the people you can build a social link with just have an Arcana for no reason.
Who takes the spot of being the dude running the Velvet Room?
Oh.
Because if Taker isn't Judgment, Taker is that guy.
Yeah, Taker could be Igor. Yeah. I forget his name. The cameraman, the guy who well, not he isn't the cameraman, I don't think, but the guy who is in charge of the cut-ins.
Oh God, Kevin Dunn.
Yeah, Kevin Dunn. Instead of the Velvet Room, you have Gorilla. You go to the Gorilla position to fuse personas.
Hang on. Okay, Hierophant, Terry Funk.
Yes.
Nonetheless. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, the only problem with Funk is that he couldn't come into the voice work anymore.
Well, if it's a game developed by God, we can get the recordings to be done in heaven.
That's true. But yeah, like there's also the thing of like, okay, so you have the social links. What do you get out of that?
Stronger tag team and stable moves.
Okay, but if they're not in a tag team or stable with you,
Well, I imagine being friends with management comes on with its own benefits.
I was about to say there's political value to this.
Yeah, now
Well,
that y'all say that, yeah, you could like, it genuinely could just be okay. Advance this character's social link to like rank 10, and you get a special storyline involving the character.
that
You get to be featured on Raw instead of main event.
Yeah,
yeah.
you get to go. You get to be off of Heat for a week.
Building your social link with Hogan takes a lot of work, but it comes with big rewards.
Yeah, big rewards, brother.
I like build a social link with Vince you can just have on any card. Like you'll say, this doesn't work for me, brother. And
Yeah.
boom, you're out of any match you don't want.
But yeah, what would the reason for the Velvet Room be then? Because like you can't really you don't really have a reason to fuse personas in wrestling.
That did occur to me, but it's funnier to ask if a wrestler could be Igor.
Yeah.
You don't you don't mix wrestlers, you mix wrestling moves. Because the wrestlers are the social links, but they empower certain moves.
Yeah. So if you get Funk to rank, then you get like a better version of the spring toe hold.
Yeah. No, spinning toe hold is the ultimate one you unlock for completing the social link.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yes.
There you go. Midway through, you unlock a special taunt, moonsault to nothing.
Yeah. It just you don't even. It's not a thing where you pre-programmed climb to the top and then do a moonsault. No, the opposed just spawns under you and you do the moonsault. But you also, but you also just the thing of like a lot of the stuff with Persona could just fit in because like you have the social stats that you have of like charm and knowledge and shit like that could just be but charm could remain charm. Knowledge would just be move knowledge of like
what pantheon do you fight?
Oh.
Because we've had Nyx, we've had Izanami, we've had God. Well, arguably. The Demiurge, one can argue whether or not that's Abrahamic God. Where do you go from there for wrestling?
Egypt.
You get to the end of your wrestling storyline and you're fighting Set?
Your fight. Well, yeah, probably. But it also ties like I said Egypt without thinking, but I remember that it ties into us saying that Ric Flair and Terry Funk are the only people holding back something, and that they've been fighting that thing since Egypt. So
you gotta redo the seal that Flair established 4,000 years ago.
Yeah. Your seal you becomes a fucking door. Like you go in there.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to go to Terry and Rick to explain how they once reassembled Osiris.
Yeah. Pink, how do you feel about this new game mode?
I am perplexed and discombobulated.
Success.
Yeah.
Okay, if we introduce a arcade mode to wrestling games, who would be the final boss? If we have to pick just one, Vince.
Vince McMahon.
His stats are terrible. He just keeps calling in assists.
Yeah. He is, however, still wearing the Shao Kahn helmet, and when you go into the tower select, he's sitting on it like in UMK3.
Yeah. Who is his Motaro?
I want
to say Big Show, but Big Show's really fucking lame, so I don't want to say Big Show.
I was gonna say that guy they fired, DeMott, I think.
Oh, Bill DeMott. Oh god. No. I prefer. Let's not have a fighting game semi-final boss that molests you, please.
But yeah, for people who are currently in WWE, I don't know, because like I could see the Matt filling the Mortaro role. I could see Johnny Ace filling that role, but I'm not sure if he's even employed anymore.
Again, let's not go with one that molests you.
Yeah. It's not my fault that most of the top wrestling molests people.
Yeah. I feel like you'd almost have to have, like, Street Fighter V, where you get different arcade modes, each of which give you a different final boss, which All-Stars actually already did that, come to think of it.
Yeah.
But the final boss of Tag Team mode was DX, which was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of time and space, the battle for the ultimate destiny, the greatest tag team of all time, D-Generation X? Question mark?
If you know it should have been Air Boom.
Well, the trouble was Road Warriors were DLC.
No, you're not hearing me. Air Boom.
No, I'm hearing you. I'm just not listening. Airboom's not even really the dumbest tag team to go with for that time, because that time period.
I didn't even go with the dumbest tag team around that time. I was thinking of, all right, so Kofi's on the roster. Sure, I'll just say the best team he's been in.
You know that it wouldn't be Air Boom, though, if it's going to be any Kofi team.
He teamed with CM Punk, the best in the world.
Kill me. I hate you both. It's one of my favorite things. Kofi in the interview at one point said, "Yeah, I don't know why Punk hates me now. He just does." That is... I've never heard the wider context of that. I assume there really isn't one based off Kofi's statement. But that's just so perfectly Punk, isn't it?
Yeah, the Punk hates Kofi because black don't crack. Unlike him.
Punk's not particularly cracking. He's just getting skinnier by the day. The man who epitomizes skinny fat.
That's the thing. Like the CM is actually a misprint. He's supposed to be Skeleton Man Punk.
Skeleton starting with C.
That's what I'm saying. It's a misprint.
No, I'm imagining Skeleton starting with C, and it's just so great. It's a good thing that it did misprint that way. Otherwise, La Parka would have come to get him.
Yeah.
Who's the final boss of Lucha? Who's the final boss of the Lucha Tower?
I mean, that depends who's making the game. If it's WWE, then Rey Mysterio.
Oh, well, yeah, but that'd be boring. Also, Rey Mysterio is the final boss of any tower.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, who here has seen the behind-the-scenes photos of Shao Kahn for the original Mortal Kombat? I'm willing to bet not Pink.
Yeah, I haven't.
So, Addy, have you ever seen the behind-the-scenes photos of what the Shao Kahn mocap, well, not mocap, the Shao Kahn actor dude actually looked like in real life?
I believe so, but it's been a while.
So, they had to stretch Shao Kahn when they put him in MK2 and MK3 because the real actor was actually by far the shortest member of the cast, like several heads shorter than anyone else. Which is great. I want them to still put in an alternate costume at some point of angry manlet Shao.
Yeah. For the wrestling arcade towers, I also had the idea of okay, so we get the unlockable characters, and it's just like, all right, you get ready to fight Mr. McMahon, but during the loading screen something seems off, and then you load in, and your opponent is not Mr. McMahon, it's Maven.
If you win the first two matches without blocking, the final boss is Max Moon.
Yeah.
Okay, final boss of the Lucha Tower, Mil Mascaris. You can only beat him by count out. He just won't lose any other way.
Yeah. You can only beat him by leaving.
You could bring a gun and shoot him in the head 3 times. He'll still kick out.
But if you do it, it enables an Easter egg where he just starts saying Jack's lines from Resident Evil 7 in Spanish.
That or he just says Sin Cara.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't even call him Mystico. No, if he's got a gun, he's in Sin Cara form.
Yeah. So that's how you tell the two apart. One of them is blue, the other one has a gun.
If only Little Parkas had made it so simple.
Yeah. That would have been a different way to run the tangle. They asked Booker, how do you tell the two apart? But he has this little dot on his shoe. Also, he has a gun.
No, they should have asked Booker, how do you tell them apart? Booker says, I'm allowed to say one of their names. Or rather, you're allowed to say one of their names, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to say both. Oh boy. Oh.
You get to the strong style towers, and then it's not even Inoki, it's Inoki's ghost. It's Nightmare Inoki.
Oh god. Inoki should totally have loads of geese parries. I mean, there's several that we could just go legit answers. Like the Territories Tower, the final boss would definitely be Harley Race, and you can't convince me otherwise.
Fair.
The Territories Tower, Harley Race, boss form. Okay, so the boss forms of each of them have to have secret moves. Boss form Harley can do the Honda headbutt.
Sure.
Out the gate, the bell rings. He is immediately flying towards you.
Yeah. I don't know which tower he'd be the final boss of, but like Haku's boss form just gets a spine rip. It's an instant kill.
Haku is the final boss of the Bar Brawl Tower.
Yeah. But he's the only boss in the game who has a fatality.
Yeah. I don't know. Taker, I think Taker, if Taker gets a... Taker, if he's the final boss of a tower, should have good old... Him or Kane should have Drag You to Hell.
Yeah. They recreate the Mortal Kombat 4 Quan Chi ending.
Yeah! Where Taker or Kane is just down there, like, idle posing.
But yeah, what was I gonna say? Shit, I was gonna point someone out.
Pink, we have shown you the Mortal Kombat 4 arcade mode endings, right?
Possibly.
If we haven't, that's got to be one day, one time we open and watch together. Because, oh boy, both the PlayStation 1 and the Nintendo 64 versions are winners.
Oh yeah.
Ever sorcerer, whap, fool.
Taker, I imagine would be the final boss of the WrestleMania tower.
Yeah, but then they'd still try to like brand it as Shawn Michaels as Mr. WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Because
Shawn is his Motaro.
Yeah.
Like, okay, they could do that thing where you go into the tower and Shawn is the final boss, but then you beat Shawn and then the tower goes up one more level and it's Taker.
Yeah. Who is the semi-final boss of the Bar Brawl before Haku?
That's the problem because like the gimmick makes me think of Bradshaw, but I feel like Bob Holly.
Bob Holly. Well, see, no, Bob Holly only fights you. Bob Holly is the final boss if you get your ass beat a bunch and the game has to offer switch to easy mode. Because Bob Holly only picks on people that he knows he can get away with picking on. If you prove yourself as even moderately okay, Bob Holly runs in fear. He literally runs off the side of the tower and a different boss appears in his place. That or he kisses your ass and says, "Oh, you're so great. By the way, can you help me not get fired this year?"
Yeah.
I've been ducking this for 8 years now. The wolves are at old Gil's door. Fuck Bob Holly.
When you do Bob Holly's fucking social link, there's a constant chain rattling from death approaching.
Yeah. The final boss, every social link you have to fight a boss, which is just the phone.
Yeah. I don't even know what tower this would be or how the boss would work. I just like to imagine that in one of the arcade towers, JTG is the boss for no reason.
And it's titled, "Why Did I Make This Tower?"
Yeah. I mean, if they do the whole Living Towers gimmick, like MK did, then they could just make those dumbass towers too.
Oh yeah, then you just get goofery towers.
Yeah,
we got the Blue World Order tower. Yeah, at the end you have to fight all three of them at once.
The Blue World Order tower is just all the three of them in different gimmicks, and then you fight them all at once. Like,
did the Blue Meanie even have a different gimmick at some point?
I mean, he wasn't always with the Blue World Order, as far as I'm aware. But no.
Yeah, but he was still the Blue Meanie when he was with the Jobber, with the
Job Squad, yeah.
Well, the Job Squad, yes, there we go.
But yeah, Blue Meanie is only a technicality of like technically he had other gimmicks in that he wasn't always wearing a Blue World Order shirt. That's it.
Yeah.
But also like,
other than that, I wouldn't be shocked if his only other gimmick was enhancement talent.
Yeah. No, what like I like to imagine, like, Stevie Richards. You fight him. You fight his ECW version. You fight his WCW version, which I don't remember if there was a lot of difference, but whatever. You fight his like early WWE version. You fight Right to Censor. You fight like, I guess, modern Stevie. You fight Stevie Richards wearing Chris Benoit's gear.
Stevie Richards tower.
You fight Stevie Richards wearing Chris Benoit's gear.
No.
Then you fight. Then you fight Blue World Order Stevie.
Is it the redacted tower?
Yeah. It's just Steven Richards in everyone's gear who we can't represent.
Stevie Richards in Chris Benoit's gear. Stevie Richards in CM Punk's gear. Stevie Richards in
Jimmy Snuka's
She's not
gear.
redacted it. She's not redacted anymore, but I'll still say Stevie Richards in China's gear.
I thought you were gonna say Paige, which would have been funny.
That would have worked too. Oh God. Poor Pink has been dead silent. We've been entering japes, and I think he was hoping for more serious discussion. Poor guy. Finally, we get to talk about my favorite games to play. I play all the time. Oh, they're just jerking off. I wasn't aware I wandered into an FGA session, but here we are.
Oh no.
This is the best FGAs, though. Liu Kang looks at the Kamidogu, and he sees Vince McMahon looking back.
Not even Vince McMahon. No, he just sees Vince McMahon's his like video package. You know, the video they show in the Titantron.
No chance.
Yeah. Lou looks off to the side. He gets hit with a chair shot to the head from off screen. It's Stone Cold.
It's Armika. And we're about to have John Cena in a Mortal Kombat game.
Yes.
Wild times.
John Cena is reprising his role as John Cena in Mortal Kombat 12.
You can't. I don't know why, but it sounded like you delivered that like John Madden, John Cena wrestling.
Yeah, you have to say it
There's
twice,
an
though.
alternate timeline where it is called like Hulk Hogan wrestling or something like that.
Yeah, but you have to say it twice for the full effect. John Cena wrestling.
Yeah. We gotta bring that clip up on Watch Together at some point.
Yeah, I think I've sent it over to Mike like years ago, which obviously means that he doesn't remember anymore. But still, technically he might have seen it.
See, that's the great thing about Mike. You can show it to him again, and it's all new.
It's a brand new experience every time.
Oh boy. All right, let's see. Well, does anybody else have any topics they want to throw in for the number 300? Or, Pink, have you received any important texts?
No, nobody's messaged me about anything yet.
We have time.
All right. Pink did also bring out a very interesting topic of that we can probably just rush through. Regardless.
Oh yeah. If you could have a remake, if there is any game that you are fond of your childhood that has not been remastered or remade. Oh, I had an answer for a second, but it occurred to me it has been remastered. Fuck.
Yeah, I'm also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to answer. I was going to answer. I would kill for a Dead Rising 1 remake, but Dead Rising 1 has been remastered, so it's disqualified.
Yeah. I'm in a similar spot because like my immediate things are like Contra. Contra is literally they just announced that there's gonna be a remake, so I can't answer that.
Yeah.
Sengoku Basara had a remaster on PS3, so that's disqualified.
If it's pie in the sky, no way it's happening, but nonetheless God is interfering on our behalf, Def Jam Vendetta and Fight for New York.
Yeah, Fight for New York would be good.
I mean, Vendetta is one of the Aki wrestling games.
I know I just have no experience with it, so I don't have any strong opinions.
It's still a winner. I have, but yeah, it's still a winner. Damn.
Yeah. Whereas Fight for New York, I have on my shelf still. So.
Time Splitters 2. There's another winning answer. You remember when I played through most of Homefront, the sequel, whatever, that nobody gave a shit about? Simply because there was a Time Splitters 2 emulator in there, and then the emulator sucked and only let you play one level? That might be the dumbest thing I've done in forever.
See, I didn't understand why you were playing through that game.
Yeah, that is the only reason! And it sucked! That was a tremendous kick in the fucking balls!
That's the inverse of my relationship with Virtua Fighter 5, where like I wanna say 4 or 5 copies at this point. Just through Yakuza.
And that one's got several good remasters and emulations.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I own like 4 or 5 copies of Virtua Fighter 5. I don't want to play them at all. Anytime. But still, I do.
Addy, I think you and I both would have had a lot more answers prior to us starting up Fightgate.
Yeah. I mean, yet another one that I could say, but it's already taken, or it's already real. The Persona 3. where like you know.
Yeah, that one became very real all of a sudden.
Yeah. So I guess do we count? Well, that's the thing. I was gonna say something, but then it occurred to me that technically no, that technically doesn't. I was gonna say Sly, but the version that I played was
Ooh.
technically a remaster because it was on the PS3, even though it sucked
Yeah,
ass.
they just haven't bothered bringing it forward.
Yeah.
I guess because they don't want to set up the false hope of the games potentially coming back, but
Yeah. Like I just hope like with the recent change in PlayStation's leadership. Like I don't hope like I've seen some people be like, all right, now we get more varied games or whatever. No, all I want is just please port some of the older games. That's it. Like just
Sucker Punch in particular, because like if you want to play Infamous 1 or Infamous 2, you need to play those like Sly. You need to play through PS Now, so you're playing with a heavy delay.
Yeah, that's the like I have realized that that's the reason, that's one of the reasons that I don't enjoy some of the games that I played like that, because like I didn't enjoy Red Dead 1 as much as I felt like I should have, at least partially because of the delay. Sly 3, I have been procrastinating on beating that for months, because every time I do, I'm just like, all right, well, this game design decision didn't age well, and also the delay is making me very angry. Like the only games that I was fine with the delay were the Infamous games, where I could just turn the game down to Peace Baby mode, and then it didn't really matter all that much. But with Sly, I feel like I feel like I could enjoy the game a lot more if it had a bit of a touch up, just some quality of life improvements, and also didn't run with like a half a second delay, even though I have good internet.
Yeah. Some degree of delay is just inevitable. It's just like the speed of light can only go so fast.
Yeah. But there's a big difference between, like, I don't know, 6 to 10 frames of delay, and which 10 frames is already a lot, allegedly, if memory serves. But yeah, like, there's a difference between that and like, I don't know, 200.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, what is that game that I really enjoy that hasn't been remastered in any shape or form? Pink, if you have an answer, then go ahead. I'll think about mine.
My answer. That's a good one. Because I brought this up because they actually finally decided to remaster one of my favorite games of all time from my childhood, which was Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. I want a remaster of Mario Kart Double Dash as well. That's the best one in the series. And there's so many fun mechanics to that they never brought back.
Mario Kart's one where it almost seems like they're just never going to go backwards. Like, the best hope there is just that Nintendo Switch Online or Nintendo Switch 2 Online will include a DS emulator.
I think you mean GameCube.
Double Dash was GameCube, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was DS. Okay, that's on me.
No, I think 7 was DS.
7 was DS. Actually, it would have been later DS era. That might have been 3DS era. And yeah, 3DS era. And they had a Mario Kart DS, which obviously released on the DS.
Yeah, that does follow.
I thought it was on the V.
You would think. I mean, many people made that assumption, but it just didn't turn out that way somehow.
You would not be the first to fuck up. Thousand Year.
As a dumbass joke answer, I was gonna say Tekken 5. Tekken 5 actually had a remaster.
Did it?
Yes, on PS3. It was the version that added online play.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that shit.
So even the shitty joke answer I can see because even that one has a fucking thing. Continue about Mario Kart.
What's special about Double Dash, anyways? I've never been able to figure out why you're so in love with it, you stupid fuck.
Well, first of all, it's the only competitively viable Mario Kart in the series franchise. I'll have you know.
Was it the
And
only one where the optimal character is not Wario?
yes, the optimal character is Fox on Final Destination.
Oh no!
Uh,
He couldn't be escaped!
But not. Here's the thing, though, because
he is inevitable!
yeah, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing that sets Double Dash apart. Double Dash has a tag team mechanic, so you're not just playing as Fox. You're playing as Baby Fox and Fox.
yeah, this is true. So yes, Double Dash had the tag team mechanic where you're choosing two racers. One drives, the other sits in the back and holds your items, and you can flip flop around. And they had the unique mechanic to where each character in the game had their own special unique item that only they could get in an item box.
Oh, that's bizarre.
Yeah, so the Mario Brothers had fireballs. Yoshi had a homing egg, which acted like a red shell, and when it hit the opponent, it would explode and throw out 3 more items. And the items could range from anything like a banana or a star or a mushroom, which is pretty awesome. So, yeah, Yoshi was the best. The baby Mario Brothers, they had the unique Chain Chomp, which is basically the modern day Bullet Bill, where you activate it and then you get the invincibility frames and the Chain Chomp just rides you around the course automatically on cruise control and blasts everyone out of the way. Then there were
Baby Mario straight up got, here's the baby easy mode one.
Exactly. And the meta was so much fun because you had to really think about which racers did you want, because it wasn't just the weight and the speed and the acceleration that you had taken into consideration. It was what item do you potentially want to get as you're driving in this cup. And
yeah, that is pretty different, because really, like, I'll say as someone who doesn't, like, pay attention to that meta stuff, so I found it a bit weird when my sister was like, Wario's the best, I'm going to play nobody but Wario from now on. I was just like, sometimes I just play Link because I think it's cool that he holds out the Master Sword whenever he goes off a ramp. I play Bowser because I find it amusing to put him on the tiniest crotch rocket possible. And conversely, I amuse myself by playing, who's the smallest racer? I know they've added Lakitu as a racer in the DLC, but I've not played since they added the DLC. Who was the smallest racer before the DLC? Who was the smallest base roster racer?
I want to say it's either the Toad and Toadette or Larry Koopa.
Yeah, I was picking one of them and conversely putting them in the monster truck, naturally.
Right. One of the DLC characters was Petey Piranha, who's a massive plant guy with little stubby legs. And so naturally,
excellent.
I put him on a motorcycle where his feet can't reach the pedals and gave him the most massive tires in existence.
Awesome. That's great. I don't know what the obsession is now with adding Petey Piranha as a playable character in these things, but nonetheless, I do find it very amusing.
I'm here for it.
That he will probably be the strangest Smash pick of all time, don't you think?
Yeah.
Where everybody was going, fucking what?
Uh-huh.
Nonetheless, very fun character. Like all of the weirdos, really.
Whenever I think about the time when Smash characters were still coming out, I'm just like, the Sora being the last character, people were so disappointed, which, whatever, but like the clues were always there. Sakurai's Twitter handle has always been Sora Sakurai.
That's true, it couldn't have meant anything else.
Sakurai loves Kingdom Hearts, personally.
I forgot Sora was the last character. I forgot Sora was in the game.
I like Kingdom Hearts. I also forgot that.
I mean, I remember that Sora's in Kingdom Hearts just because it's actually canon? Question mark?
Right, yeah, they did the Shovel Knight God of War thing where Kratos was canonically in Shovel Knight.
What?
Yeah, in God of War Ragnarok, Kratos explains that he spent a while after God of War 3 roaming between realms, and he confirms that both PlayStation All-Stars and Shovel Knight were canon, and he actually went through them.
Incredible. When did Kratos show up in Shovel Knight?
He is a secret boss.
Ah. That's
I
crazy.
think only on the PlayStation version, but nonetheless.
Oh, fair enough.
So that raises its own set of questions. Because if Smash is canon to Kingdom Hearts, Shovel Knight shows up in Smash.
So fucking Kratos is getting to Kingdom Hearts.
Did Kratos hop on a gummy ship?
Perhaps. But now think about this. Both Terry and Ryu are in Smash. Sora is also in Smash. Smash is canon to Kingdom Hearts. Street Fighter is canon to Kingdom Hearts. So is King of Fighters.
I mean, it logically means that all the video games that are present in Smash are worlds in Kingdom Hearts that Sora has just never gone to close the keyholes of.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, considering we already had the Disney worlds and then the Final Fantasy world singular, because Nomura doesn't like the Final Fantasy guys. He thinks they're smelly.
I do too.
It's anyways. Oh boy. Yeah, did we all each have an answer there? Because
No, not yet.
yeah, you haven't got one. Yeah, because I had Time Splitters. I guess Time Splitters or Def Jam, and Pink had Mario Kart Double Dash.
Yeah. Mine, I guess, would be in lieu of anything more important to me. Digimon Rumble Arena. Because everything that's closer to my heart that I could think of already had a remaster at least. So
Has there not been already from some pretty big Digimon? The Digimans! I love the Digimans! They're great! I love the Digimon! Yeah! What the fuck? Has there not already been some serious Digimon remasters as of late?
no.
Hmm.
Rumble Arena never. Well, Rumble Arena specifically, like that series, but even just the first game never got a remaster. It had sequels. It had a spiritual successor that flopped, but it never had a remaster. And then the newer Digimon games, World Next Order was a spiritual successor to World 1, which you have to point out that it's just World 1 because all of the games in that series, none of them make sense. It's not actually a series in anything other than name.
I see.
And then Survive is its own new thing. It was a visual novel with some tactical RPG on it, but just a very very minuscule amount. Like the way I've seen it described is it's 3 hours of visual novel, and then you have a tactical RPG fight, and then back to visual novel for under 4 hours. So that's that, and then the story games, they're just Pokemon.
Yeah.
I mean that's pretty much it. It's the story games are largely structured similarly to Pokemon, with some caveats here and there. But yeah, I guess it's more like story based than just freedom gather all of the mons. They're trying to follow an actual plot and shit, but whatever. Pokemon has also been trying to do that. Just I don't know if they've been succeeding or not. I haven't paid attention.
Have you been paying attention to that, Pink?
I have not. The last game I paid attention to for Pokemon would have been a remake of one of their prior games. So, like, yeah, not a lot of new features or whatnot in those. I don't imagine.
But yeah, or I could say my eternal the eternal answer, Plasma Sword. There's never gonna be a new one, but still, I keep saying Plasma Sword, Star Gladiator 3, or something.
Yeah, that's a bit of an odd one, especially because it's almost like trying to get in on the 3D fighter game competitively, like not competitively as in like competitive fighting games, but like almost like kind of competing with Tekken and Soul Calibur, and Capcom is decidedly on good terms with the Bamco for the moment.
Yeah, and even if they weren't, there's like 4 other series that they're gonna put in 3D, including Street Fighter, before we get another Plasma Sword.
It's a little bit more brand value, yes. Plasma Sword was sadly a product of a time where fighting games were not so expensive to make. So you could just say, fuck it, we're going to make a new fighting game license because we feel like it.
I mean, that one technically wasn't that. What happened with that one is that LucasArts or someone, I forget who, but they licensed out Capcom to make a Star Wars fighting game, and then when the game was like 90% done, they went, actually no, never mind, we're gonna make Masters of Terraska Sai, and that's how Star Gladiator 1 came to be, which is just a Star Wars game reskinned to not be Star Wars, very very poorly.
And Masters of Terraska Sai stinks super fucking hard.
Yeah, and then
it's like it's god awful. One of the worst fighting games of all time. That's great.
Yeah, and the Star Gladiator 2 was renamed to Plasma Sword, like it's its own series. I don't know why. It's the game that I know the best out of the series, but still, either of them got a remake, I'd be fine. I'd be more fine with Plasma Sword, obviously, because I have more nostalgia for that one. But like, yeah.
Is Nightmare of Bilstein not the better version?
That's Plasma Sword.
Oh, okay.
That's 2. That's Star Gladiator 2.
I see.
But yeah, the major little takeaway for me, like for how feasible it would be, is that Plasma Sword, you're gonna be surprised by this. Plasma Sword is one of the first games that I can point to that tried to streamline fighting games.
Yeah.
Yes. I went back.
God no.
When I brought up playing it for the channel, I went back and did, like, I wanna say maybe a match to try and see how the game worked, and the game had dialogue combos. It had auto combos, more or less, if memory serves.
To be fair, every 3D fighter has dialogue combos.
Yeah, but yeah, it had more or less auto combos, if memory serves. And here's the big thing: the roster is made up of, I wanna say, 16 people, but half of the cast is Echo Fighters.
I do remember that being the case, yes. From the little bits I have looked into Plasma Sword.
So, like, feasibly, you could remake the game, and if you don't want to, like, really evolve it too much, you could legitimately just make new assets and then be like, all right, well, it's already streamlined, so there's gonna be, some casual appeal. Echo Fighters, sure.
I feel like the way they would get to Plasma Sword, if they ever got to Plasma Sword, would be doing Project Justice / Rival Schools first, and then just porting Plasma Sword onto the same engine.
Yeah, probably. I mean, although it would be funny to have both of those on the Ori engine.
See, then it would just be gorgeous.
Yeah.
Now, I forget, Sakura was in one of the Project Justice Rival Schools games,
2,
right?
I think.
Yes, she was, yes.
Which is also not the version that we have, because 2 was only on, like... I was gonna say the Dreamcast 2, but that doesn't exist. It was the Xbox. But
Did you say Dreamcast 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some people's wet dream. I know that. There are some Dreamcast nut jobs out there.
But yeah, I feel like that was on like the Naomi 2 board or whatever, or something like that. Like it wasn't on the Dreamcast. It was on the PS2 and only Japan exclusive or something like that.
Yeah, that old weird thing. Ooh.
For non-fighting games. So
yeah.
So once again, the problem is that like even if some of the games that I liked from my childhood, even if they didn't get a proper remake or remaster, there's a spiritual successor that's close enough. Like Flat Out 2, I could point out as the one racing game that I really like. Flat Out 2 had a soft remake in Flat Out 4. It's not particularly great, but like it's not particularly worse than Flat Out 2 either. It's just Flat Out 2. So which I forget if they asked for like a proper like $40 or whatever for it at release. I got it for like 10, and for like $10, playing Flat Out 2, with an asterisk on PS4 is good enough for me.
Yeah.
Okay. This will never happen, nor should it. I don't think if this happened, I don't think it would be good. But I like the idea of it. Okay, so imagine this: the remake Sonic Unleashed.
Do I have to imagine that?
Not necessarily, but now imagine that they remove this Space Harrier, increasing the game's quality at least 2 times. So, putting it up from like a Z to a, I don't know,
Z in half.
Yeah.
Can we remake Bayonetta 3 by turning it into an entirely different game?
Yeah. I mean, considering Kamiya is gone from Platinum, maybe.
Yeah, that's the thing is, Kamiya's made several games I love, but when he announced he was quitting or retiring, I immediately thought, oh, good, less Afterburner.
Yeah. Actually, now that you bring up Kamiya, remake fucking Okami. Just make
oh yeah,
make the same game, but just make it have prettier graphics. There you go.
Which Okami has already been remastered for modern consoles.
Shit,
so.
You're right.
Yeah, I own the Okami remaster.
So
I started
do
it up once. I just didn't get very far.
So do I.
Shit, we both own it.
Yeah.
Well, there's a gnat trying to get up my nose.
Yeah, like this is the problem I keep running into. This is the problem that I keep running into where I played the remaster and I have memories of the remaster. It's technically like a PS2 game, but it's technically a remaster. I just forgetting because like I was also gonna say just give a graphical facelift to Kingdom Hearts, change nothing but the graphics. But then I remembered, oh yeah, Remakes is a remaster.
Yeah, yeah. In many ways, it's a remake because they torched.
Yeah.
They torched the original file, so they had to remake it all from scratch.
Yeah, they had to remake 1 completely from scratch, and 2 it's a remaster, I think.
Yeah, that one came around by the time that... Well, that was an advantage. Goddamn, this now is being very aggressive. Jesus Christ. But luckily, Kingdom Hearts 2 came by the time that Japanese devs found out remakes were a thing that people enjoyed, and remasters were a thing that people enjoyed. Because for a little bit, Japan would torch the source code for any games once they were done, whereas the West would keep them.
Okay, I finally got an actual answer. Fuck. Fatal Frame 2. Specifically 2.
Specifically 2?
Yes.
Why's that?
2 is the standout from the series. 2 is the best one.
I assume it's the one without the incest.
Yes, that was 4 onwards, I think.
Onwards? That's not good.
Yeah, I think there's 6 or 7 games in the series.
Oh no!
Including a game where you play as the incest baby, the time travel incest baby. So, but yeah, Fatal Frame 2, if memory serves, is kind of like Silent Hill 2. Where it has nods to the overarching narrative of the game up to that far, which means just this reference as one. But other than that, it's kind of its own like self-contained story.
Yeah.
And like if memory serves, 2 was just overall the best one. It's the there's a reason that it still goes for like fucking $500, which is scarcity. But
yeah. To be fair, there's a game I want from my childhood that is not very good, but nonetheless also very expensive because of scarcity's sake. Have either of you guys ever heard of Alien versus Predator? I believe it was not Requiem. That was the movie. Alien versus Predator. Oh, I'm forgetting it. Hang on, let me Google it. They released a Alien versus Predator RTS only for consoles. And give me a second. I'm pulling it up in just a moment. Alien versus Predator Extinction.
Ah.
And it got 60 out of 100s from Metacritic. 4 out of 10 from Eurogamer. A 7 out of 10 from GameSpot. I really enjoyed the game when I was a kid. I'm sure if I went back and played it now, it would be terrible. It is nonetheless one I'm interested in picking up, but it's always at very, very high prices. And I find it to be a pity because it did have some really neat ideas, like the actual aliens ecosystem being built into the game, where in order to get new units, you have to send aliens out to knock people out and drag them back to your nest and then face hug them. And you get different aliens depending on what you face hugged. You don't get to build new. Yeah, and there's different there's wild animals out there, and they change what type of alien you get. And if you go out and face hug a cow, you're going to get an alien drone who is not a very good fighter, but they're decent workers. If you face hug a human, though, you'll get an alien warrior who is better at it. And if you face hug a predator, you get the pred alien. It was very cool.
Oh.
Predators could only make money by collecting trophies, going and collecting spines. And then the humans ran things pretty well the usual RTS way. But it was very cool, very squad focused, very focused on the little guys and them having lots of abilities. It was very neat, had mission based structure, but it was an RTS on console with no multiplayer, so it was going to have limited survivability as an RTS altogether.
Yeah.
There's a little mini topic. What is the most bizarro, no one gives a shit game of your childhood that you want to go back and see? Like, okay, does nobody remember this because it's a genuine hidden gem, or does nobody remember this because it sucked? That is nonetheless very exotic and weird and did things that no one since has really tried. Hyper-specific thing, but nonetheless something I think that everyone can sympathize with.
I don't know, because most of mine that I could think of, I've already gone back and decided that they just stunk. The one that the one that's an exception is Hudson's Adventure Island, which is beloved for a reason. But the second one,
yeah,
the first one is beloved too. I just have no personal attachment to it myself. But 2 was just the 2 was Super Mario World before Super Mario World, from what I understand, because it had the whole pick up power-ups before or for later stuff, and it also had different mounts that could do different stuff.
Yeah.
And that one, I don't see a lot of people talk about it, but whenever I do see people talk about it, it's always just Adventure Island was really cool. It's a shame that nothing happened with it after 2, more or less.
Yeah, Nintendo tends to have a little bit of a stranglehold over late 80s and then early to mid 90s retro game talk.
Yeah, which sucks for me because I liked some NES and SNES games, but they're never the first party ones.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want me to talk about obscure games, just that topic, I have played the Samurai Pizza Cats game, which didn't come out outside of Japan. It was one of my childhood games.
But is it a game that you would like to go back and see again?
Kinda. I mean, I remember not liking it particularly, but it did have this interesting gimmick where you could choose between 7 Samurai Ninja Pizza Cats, and they all had their own gimmicks. So like one had this cap that could fly, the other one just had a sword. But it was kind
And
of
it's not like the notorious Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles NES game where there's Donatello and then the turtles that suck.
no. I had that one too.
Oh boy.
But yeah, no, Samurai Ninja Pizza Cat, if memory serves, is generally regarded as shit. I don't remember why. I don't remember if it's true. But it's genuine. It is genuine a game that I own on cartridge, or I owned at least at one point on cartridge. And yeah, I just remember that those bits of being able to switch between the characters, and then I also remember being dumbfounded by all of the menus because there was a lot of text and I can't read Chinese.
Ah!
Like, at that point in time, I could barely read to begin with, but especially not Chinese.
Yeah. Understandably. Pink, I know you gotta have a poll here.
I'm trying desperately to think. There's many a game I played when I was young, but I can't think of any like quote unquote forgotten classics that maybe only I liked. Hmm. Hmm.
Harm.
If you want me to buy you more time, I can bring up one that I think we could all at least somewhat sympathize with. Where I went back, I really like this in my childhood, but I went back and I realized that the game was very bad.
I don't know. I guess a long ass time ago, I really liked the Scooby Doo game called what was it? Night of 100 Frights, I want to say.
Oh shit! I had the same game.
Oh dang! Yeah,
And Don Knotts is in it for some reason.
yeah,
And he's not even playing a character. He's just Don Knotts.
yeah. I thought that was pretty radical.
Addy, Don Knotts was the idiot deputy from the Andy Griffith Show.
That doesn't help me.
The Andy Griffith Show was an old 1950s show in black and white, very silly, not silly, little comedy show, kind of, where Andy Griffith played a small town sheriff who did not use a gun or violence to solve crimes. He was just a good old wholesome sheriff.
I see.
And Don Knotts was his lovable lovable idiot deputy. There we go. Who did carry a gun because that was supposed to indicate that he was an idiot, that he needed a gun to do police work.
Why use a gun when you have your fists?
That's what I'm saying.
That's evidence.
You make a good point, but the point of the show, I think, was supposed to be use your words.
All I'm saying is that you don't need to file the serial number off of your hands generally.
That is true. However, that hasn't stopped me from filing the serial number off my hands anyways. They'll never know which line I came off of. Oh boy, yeah, now I'm thinking about that Scooby-Doo game. Yeah, it was, you played as Scoob himself, right?
Yes.
Which was an inspired choice on its own to be playing as a dog.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming it did a better job than A Dog's Life.
I may have played the demo to Dog's Life back in the day as well. Because it used to be back in the day, we didn't get video games very much, so my parents would just get the demo discs, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if you were in like this farmland area and you went up to people and you had a button to fart, then
I remember that. Yes.
Then yeah, that's the game. Yes.
Yeah, and as a kid, I thought that was awesome. I thought every game should have a fart button.
I mean, if memory serves, which I didn't play this game, I've only seen a lot of videos. But if memory serves, if you spam the fart button, eventually he just shits.
You know, I don't think I ever thought to try that as a kid. I will say, it is astounding. There's really only been 2 games I can think of that have a shit button. That and Ark Survival Evolved, which is not the same game as Dog's Life, believe it or not.
Are you sure about that?
Not the same genre.
I'm
pretty
my
sure.
doubts here, but I'll trust you.
See, that's your first mistake.
But yeah, is the Scooby game that y'all are talking about on the PS1?
No, PS2.
It might still be the same
I'm sure-
game because it probably had both versions. But like, is it the game with Super Shag?
No.
No?
There's an actual license.
That's what Austin Powers calls it when he gets laid.
I shit you not. There's an actual licensed Scooby-Doo game on the PS1 where there's a superpowered Shaggy, and he calls himself Super Shag.
Are you sure you aren't thinking of multiverses?
Yes. It's this top-down platformer. You control Scooby-Doo.
A top-down platformer?
It's at a slight angle, but yes.
What the fuck?
don't
No,
know.
that is definitely, abso-fucking-lutely not the game that Pink and I are talking about.
Okay, because that's a game that exists.
God, no. I'm so offended by that, I suggest we call this podcast right now. Addie?
Men will enter my ass. You know what I mean.
Bye.